everyone, it's Kerry back with you today. It's the 1st of July, which I cannot believe we are into the second half of this year already. But the first of the month brings about our Playing with Paper and Glue freebie. So for those of you that don't know, each month on the 1st we bring out a freebie in the Playing with Paper and Glue Facebook group, and I will leave a link below to that Facebook group. Now, our freebies are going to work a little bit differently going forward, and I'll explain that to you now. So here in front of me are two different freebies. Now, this one here will be available in the Facebook group exclusively for the month of July. Once we hit August, this freebie will be available both in the Facebook group and on our website. So I know there are some of you that don't use Facebook. Didn't want you to miss out, so you will be able to get this freebie. You'll just have to wait a little bit, and it will be available in our shop on the 1st of August, exclusively in the group between the 1st of July and the 31st of July. This freebie over here will be our July freebie that is only available in the shop. And again, I will leave links to that below. Reenie's going to come along and show us a video on what she's created with this freebie. But today I'm going to be focusing on our Playing with Paper and Glue freebie. So this month our freebie is identification cards, and we have 2 pages here. Now, I haven't had a play with this kit at all. I thought I would just cut out all the bits and pieces, which I have here, and I'll have a go and see what happens. So I'm just going to play around with the bits. I'll probably speed this bit up till I've made a decision on what I'm going to do. I have already cut out the bits, and I did have an idea that I would do something double-sided with this one. And I have also quite heavily inked around the backs and the fronts of these cards. So I'll just see what I can put together, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so I think I've got a bit of an idea about what I might like to do. So as I mentioned earlier, I have already inked around the back and the front of this, so that when I cut it out, because my cutting is less than perfect, if there's any white showing, it won't actually stick out that much. So I'm just going to finish cutting this out a little bit more precisely. Alright, so I've cut this out a little bit more precisely now. I've folded it in half and given it a good ink all over, and now I'm just going to glue the 2 halves together. And I'm just going to use glue stick for this. Now I quite heavily inked this earlier, so I'm just going to spritz a little bit of water on there. I had used Distress Oxide, just so when I flick the oxide with water, I get these lovely watermarks that will appear. Now I'm just going to sit this aside to dry, and while that's drying, I'll work on my other little pieces that I'm going to pop in here. Just going to glue this gentleman onto this little photograph frame. And bring my folder back in for a sec. So I think I want to have this down the bottom and this up the top. And what other bits and pieces have we got here? So that's got some ID type information there. I think I wanted something like that, and then perhaps a signature. So I think something like that. But before I do that, I want to use the other side of this card. Now I'm just going to bring in a foam mat, and I've just got a piece of scrap paper here. So I've got some old office type stamps here that I've had for a while, and I'm just going to decorate the front of this with all sorts of different stamping. Alright, so I've just added some stamping onto my card here, and I'm ready to start adding my bits and pieces to the inside. Just add a couple more little stamps there, just because I can't help myself. And then there's some other little bits in here. I think I might add one up here. So here's ID card number 1, and I've just got this gentleman in here with some of these details, and then some information here, and then some stamping on the back. Alright, so I'm going to work on the second one now, and I'm just going to again cut this out a little bit more precisely. Now I thought for this one, Lynn, who is one of our lovely design team girls, did a project a week or so ago where she was using photos, but she was cutting a little hole in the page and letting the photo peek through, so I thought I might have a go at that as well. So again, I'm just going to bring my mat in here, and I'm going to work out roughly where I think I want her. Probably about there. So I'm just going to poke a hole in my paper here. And then just tear a little bit of that paper away. I need to make that just a little bit bigger. Okay, I think that's going to work. I'm just going to rough up those edges a little bit. And go around there with some ink. Now, Lynn is an avid sewer. She sews everything. And she had cleverly stitched a great looking little messy circle around her hole that she popped in. So I'm going to have a go at that, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got my very messy stitching around that hole. I don't know how Lynn manages to make it look so perfect around a tiny little spot like that. But it is what it is, and we're just going to work with it. So that's my little lady poking through there. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on the edges of her. And then I can line up the hole a bit better with her face. And then just press down. Like that. And then we can come in with a little ID card for her. And I think I want to pop a little bit of stamping in the background of this one as well. And I think this time I might use some texture. This has just got some, it's almost like a bubble wrap sort of texture. Now I know a fair bit of this will get covered up, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. I'm just going to I'm going to ink it first. Sort of scrunch it up a little bit. Might just pop some ink over the top just to make it look a bit more grungy. Bring that in. So I think that one can go there. I'll just darken it a little bit. Then I'm just going to glue that one down. Then I'm going to pop a little bit of glue in the middle but I'm not really being that fussy with it because I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and stitch around the edge. Alright, so I'll just go and stitch that and I'll be right back. So there we go, I've just messy stitched all the way around the edge there, and I popped a little bit of ink on the back just to cover the holes that I'd punched with the sewing machine, and just deciding if I want to add that on the back there. I think I might distress it and grunge it up a bit. And then I'll just glue that down onto the back. So there we go, that's little ID card number 2. I really like that idea, so thanks for sharing that, Lynn. I can see myself using that a fair bit in the future. That's great. And then for the last card, I thought I would do something a little bit different. So the card is obviously designed to be folded along this line, and then you have this double-sided sort of card feature. But I thought for this one, I would fold it off centre, off that line, and then I'm going to use this little edge as like a tuck spot or a pocket. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out a bit more precisely. Alright, so I've got that cut and I've just folded it about 1 centimetre off this line and then left about 3/4 of a centimetre and folded that in just so it gives me like a little tuck spot. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this top flap down now. And then I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and just stitch all the way around the edge there, so that will catch the edges of this pocket and make it so that's like a tuck spot. If you wanted to, you could just use glue, you don't have to stitch. Okay, so I've got my little tiny stitched pocket here. Now I made sure that this row of stitching was as close as I could get it to the edge here, because if I did it up too high I would lose this sort of tuck spot here. So I'm just going to prepare some of these ephemera pieces that I've cut out for my pocket here. Alright, so I'm going to take this piece and glue that onto the back here. And that will cover up most of that line. Like that, and then I might take one of these extra little numbers, and I know it's already got a number there, but if I use this one it'll help disguise that line just a little bit more. Like that. And maybe we'll put a signature down on this bottom corner just to help balance it out a little bit. So on this side, now I'm not sure whether I want to glue this down or just leave it as a loose piece of ephemera. I think I might glue it down. So just tucked it inside that pocket there. Then I've got room for my 2 little photographs here and this little card with information, a little seal here. And then I'll just decorate the front part here. And then to finish that off, I might just do a little bit more stamping. Okay, so these are our 3 little ID cards. We've got our little flippy uppy one here with our stamping, so that will look cute in a little pocket. We've got our little stitched one here inspired by Lynn, very grungy. and then a little pocket here with some bits and pieces in. So another really fun little freebie there that Rennie has created, and I really love the fact that there's not much fussy cutting. Thanks so much for that, Rennie. You know how much I love fussy cutting. So this freebie will be exclusive in the Playing with Paper and Glue Facebook group for the month of July. It will go into our shop at the beginning of August, and you can also pop over to our shop now and get this freebie. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you again next time. Bye.